Okay, so if you follow my Instagram story or whatever, you may have noticed I repeatedly mentioned that this game, Return of the Obra Dinn, is my favorite video game of all time. And after I finished Omori, I did actually debate if Omori took number one, and I honestly don't think so. I still believe that this game, Return of the Obra Dinn, is still the greatest game of all time. Um, I played it a while ago. This isn't going to be a series, right? It's just a video of me fanboying over it and explaining why I think it's absolutely incredible. It's created by Lucas Pope, you see in the bottom left, who, if you don't know, is the creator of Papers, Please, another absolutely amazing game. Um, but this game literally has everything I love about video games in it. It's truly an experience that you can only have in a video game. No other art form can come close to the sheer joy and just feeling I had when I played this game. There's nothing like it. It is so amazing. I'm just sort of dawdling right now, but I guess I'll go through why I love it so much in this video. Um, so, I guess you can hear it now. It has an amazing soundtrack. I talk a lot about soundtracks in video games. It is one of those things that definitely adds to everything, and I'm kind of sad when video games, movies, shows don't really care about the soundtrack. You can definitely tell when a movie or something cares about its soundtrack. But yeah, I guess I'll go through the first half hour or so of the game and show you what it's about, because I've never seen no one mention this game. Whenever I say my favorite video game is Return of the Obra Dinn, I've never met someone that knew what it even was, and I want to fix that. Even though I know nobody watches my videos like at all, I want to share how absolutely incredible this game is, because it needs way more attention. Everybody knows Papers, Please. Papers, Please is like, it took over YouTube. Everybody's seen it. Everybody knows what it is. But I've only seen one bigger YouTuber talk about this game. It was NerdCubed, and he made a video on it, and he did sort of what I'm doing, where he played it in his own time and then came back and wanted to share the game about why it's so good. I know, crap, I can't remember the name. The video game reviewer who has the little character, the British man. I forget his name. I apologize. But he also listed this as his best game of 2019 when this game came out. So I guess enough stalling. I will go into it. You can see I've played this. This is a complete 100% play, but I'll start a new game. Explain. Lost at Sea, 1803. The good ship Obra Dinn. Built 1796, London, 800 tons, 18 feet draught. Captain R. Wittrell. Crew 51 men. Last voyage to Orient Cape Rendezvous Uninet. Contact East India Company London office for inquiries or testimony. The Honorable East India Company. Attention, Chief Inspector, Insurance and Claims, London Office. The Obra Dinn has returned. Dispatch to Falmouth immediately and prepare a full assessment.
Company man woke me up. Said you'd need ferry to the Obra Dinn. Not many eager for that job. Seems a bit late if you ask.
I didn't.
Oh, my character is a woman this time.
What's in the box?
I don't know.
Wow, I didn't.
Hoist it up in a few minutes.
The first time I played, it was a man. I didn't actually know that. Carefully. Yeah, first time it was a man, now it's a woman. I didn't know if they changed that. Alright, so, is my arm different? It looks pretty much the same. Alright, so immediately, the art style is incredible. I love this art style so much. I've never seen something like this. You can see, like, the further away, the blurrier it is, but the closer you get, more detail. The entire game is two colors. Don't worry about that. You'll figure it out later. The entire game is just two colors. This sort of weird brown, black, and white. And they cram in so much detail. Like, look at the wood. Like, just, it's so good looking for a game that has two colors in this weird style. I've never seen a style like this. Also, you can change monitor, so it's Macintosh. You can turn it to ISBN, Zenith, Commodore, IBM. IBM looks pretty good. LCD. Well, that's like entirely black and white. And then back to Macintosh. I never really fiddle with those, but just know it's there. I just prefer playing on this because, I mean, it's what the game was designed in and what the main menu is and everything. But I absolutely love how this looks. It's so cool looking. I've never seen something like it. There's a dead body there. We'll talk about that later. Because I'm still gushing over how good this game looks. Like, I don't know. It's so... I don't know any game that looks like this. Like, this... Like, you can tell, like, the sea has, like, its own sort of entity. Like, it doesn't move on your perspective. It just looks so otherworldly, but realistic. It's so cool. Alright. So, what you're supposed to do is that you see there's a dead body here. There's a it's a skeleton. So the whole point of this game is that this ship, the Obra Dinn, as you can see, as the letter said, it has returned. So it set sail, and then 30 years later, it just showed up. It just disappeared on its voyage, and then it just, for 30 years, and it finally came back, and now it's here. And they have assigned me, who is apparently a woman now, to figure out what happened. You can see that these doors, the ones with the X's, are locked. And also, I don't know any other game that does... Oh.
It's too heavy!
Yeah, I have to go help him because the box is too heavy. But I'll still show you the hand because it's so cool. Yeah, so that this door, when we walk up to it, your character pulls out their arm and grabs it, and you can click and you can see that, yes, it is indeed a lock. That little arm thing, I don't know why, but it's so cool. You can see, like, this one has a little line. There's nothing in these. That one's open too, but I've never seen a game that does that. It's so cool. Just, it's so cool. Everything about this game is amazing.
It's too
Yeah,
heavy!
yeah, I'm coming.
Lift it yourself!
Yeah, so, in the beta version, he actually brought it up, but apparently it's heavy now, so, yeah, in the full game, it got heavy.
It's too heavy. Take it yourself or open it here.
Alright, we can open up our little box, and we have a book. Alright, and we shall look through the book. Return to the Obra Dinn, a catalog of adventure and strategy. Preface. I trust that you now find yourself aboard the Obra Dinn. I expect this day to come, and my very intention was to tell the ship's strange tale within the pages of this book. Regrettably, failing health has allowed me to produce only the basic outline that follows. Your presence on the Obra Dinn is critical. I leave the discovery of its fate and the completion of this book in your hands. The next few pages will seem bewildering at first. All will make sense in time. Use the pocket watch to determine the identity and fate of everyone aboard. Complete each chapter accurately and return the book by guaranteed post to the French Office of Affairs in Morocco. The bargain chapter will remain unknown to you. I possess the details within, but I've elected to keep them private for now. Henry Evans. You can see we have a little index of all the chapters. So these are the chapters: A Loose Cargo, A Bitter Cold, Murder, The Calling, Unholy Captives, Soldiers of the Sea, The Doom. The Doom is absolutely the best chapter. Bargain, Escape, in the End. You can see this is its route. You see it started from Falmouth, England, was going all the way, was going all the way down to South Africa. You can see we come across the Canary Islands. These islands will become important later. I'll explain that in a bit. And we also have a map of the boat. I never really used the map of it that much. Now that I think about it, I probably should have used it when I was doing my first playthrough. But now, these two are where it all starts to come together. So we have literally the list of every single person on board. All 60 of them. Their name, their role on the ship, and where they're from. So we have England and Scots, we have an Austrian, a Frenchman, Americans, Irish, Polish, Italian. There's a Formosa, which is Chinese. They're important. We have Indian, Swede, Wales, Persia, New Guinea, Russian, Denmark, Sierra Leone. I don't know where that's from. Yeah, so we have all 60 of them. We have to figure out what happened to every single person aboard. All of them, all 60 of them, we have to figure out their fate. And so if I click on this, first, alright, I'll show the picture then. So this is a sketches of life aboard the Obra Dinn. So there's where someone's thing is an artist. Edward Spratt, he's an artist. So he drew these pictures of everyone aboard. So not every picture is like fully. This guy looks like Rasputin. I always thought that. So we have all of these people. These are the royal Chinese family that are important later, and we have, this is also a scene later. All of these people, we don't know their names. Like this bald guy right here, we don't know what his name is. But we have to figure out the name and fate of everyone, and we'll find out how to do that later. Also, if you hit tab, you have to look through the whole book first. And those little musical notes when it's giving you like a message pops up, I love that. It's a little cooler detail. So yeah, we have loose cargo. And this just says where stuff happens. You can see like outside the first mate's window. So there isn't much here. Oop. The chapter was made in 1998. Yep. So, well, first we have a glossary. That's pretty simple. This, if it clicks on you, it tells you like what this means. Helmsman, rated seaman in control of the ship's wheel and general moment-to-moment navigation. This is very important. The glossary, we're gonna wanna actually use this quite a bit. I didn't on my first playthrough, and I suffered dearly. We have this ominous thing. I'll explain that later. And we have one of the coolest items in every single video game ever, the pocket watch. Memento mortem, remember death. Right, so now we have a little pocket watch. And I'll see this guy later. This guy stays there the entire game, which I think is kind of interesting, while you're doing your duties on the ship. Alright, so remember death. We have to figure out what happened to people. There's a dead body over here. So let's go up, and you can see our character will pull out the pocket watch. Click.
Captain! Open the door! Kick it in. Ah! Lest we break it down and take more than those shells!
You bastards may take exactly what I give you!
Okay, so we are now frozen in time, the exact moment of death of the person we have found. This looks amazing. The music playing is absolutely incredible. So we have the captain here. They're breaking in. Shot this guy. He had an axe with him. The way that they convey motion with this is so incredible. Like, that's so cool looking. It's absolutely beautiful. That door will, I'll explain, that door will show what happens in a little bit. Just like, you see like the bullet come out and fall over. You see there's a guy up here. He has a knife in his teeth. Yeah. So they're trying to break in and try to kill the captain. This guy tried to kick in, got shot. This guy is shocked. I hate this guy, by the way. He's caused me so many issues. Alright, so we've seen what happened to someone in the game. Right. So, yeah, so you basically go in reverse chronological order, because, I mean, you're discovering dead bodies. And also, like, on the map, it will show where it is. Location of the corpse, 3 others are present. and you have the dialogue in the bottom left. Who is this? How did they die? Alright, so we have to figure out who this guy is, how he died. We know how he died. He got shot by the captain. We have no idea what his name it was, though, or his occupation. So this will remain this unknown soul. If you go in, oh, this person's face appears blurred throughout the book. This blurring indicates that you don't yet have sufficient information to determine their identity. Their fate may be known and can be entered now. Trying to name them while their face is blurred would be unproductive. Carry on and pay attention. Faces will become unblurred when the information necessary to identify them has been revealed in some way. Alright. See down here, one memory. It will say, memories where the person appears can be navigated from here. Yeah, so it just says, like, where they appear on. Bookmark all memories where they appear for quicker navigation. See, now it's bookmark. Use buttons at the top of the page to edit bookmarks and navigate between them. See, I don't want that bookmarks because we figure out who this guy is pretty soon. So, met an unfound Nate, he was not. So we have alive, axed, burned, clawed, clubbed, crushed, and this arrow means, so alive, he says, where are they alive in? This is where they're from. Crushed by what? Decapitated, drowned, eaten, electrocuted, expired, exploded, fell, overboard rigging down the stairs, froze to death, illness, killed with a sword, stabbed with a knife, poisoned, shot, so he was shot. So we have speared, spiked, strangled, struck by, and suicide by, and torn apart. So he was shot with a gun. And then since this was directly from something, so like if he just like fell to his death, we can say he just fell down the stairs and that's about it. But this was since he was shot with a gun by an unknown attacker, we know it was the captain because before they were breaking in, they were screaming captain. So he was shot by Robert Whittle, captain. There we go. So we still don't know who he is, but we know what happened to him, that he was shot by the captain. And then also down here you can see 3 others are present. So we have, see this guy's face is unblurred because we know that he is the captain. Sources and faces no longer blurred, which means that they can now be identified. Use a book and pocket watch to gather enough information to deduce their identity. Revisit memories on the ship using the pocket watch to study relationships, appearances, and activities. Use the book maps, crew manifest, and artist sketches, along with the individual conversation logs to find clues about. There were 60 people on the ship when it left England. Determining everyone's identity and fate will not be easy. Decisive information is rare. You will have to make assumptions after using partial information. Some identities may only be revealed through a process of elimination. Good luck. Alright, so this guy was the captain. So, Captain Robert Whittle. And he's only on the memory, but we don't know how he died, or maybe he's alive. Also, it didn't say this, but this little arrow, that's how hard it is to determine what happened to him. So, the reason why I love this whole system is that it said decisive information is rare and you will have to use educated guesses a lot. When someone dies, of course, like the first one, they were yelling captain, it's pretty easy to figure out what happened because this is basically the tutorial. Later on, you will literally get memories where no one says a word and someone dies and you have to figure out who they were, even though no dialogue was spoken. There's one, a little bit in after this, where it's literally just screaming. There is no word spoken. A man just screams and is killed. Yeah, and he appears in only like 5 other memories without saying a word. You have to figure out who he is from just that little bit of screen time. And I love that so much. Decisive information is rare. When someone gets stabbed, they don't say their name and who they're stabbed by. You're just going to have to figure it out. I actually had to take notes when playing this game to like figure out what happened. Yeah, this guy, I hate this man. It took me forever to figure out who he was. This stupid little beanie. Alright, so yeah, the door is open just because we now are done with his memory. Another thing is, if you right click, you can zoom in and it will show you the artist sketch just in case you can't figure out who exactly these people are. So like this guy, we probably don't really know where he was on the sketch. He was in the background of the first sketch, just hanging out. And we already saw where the captain and this guy were. So yeah, now that memory's done, we go through here. And now, since in that memory the captain came out and shot, the door is now unlocked. You can see now we can walk around here. So we have 2 corpses in here. And see, this door is locked. And there isn't much around here. So we go up to this corpse and let's figure out what happened to them.
Where are they? Must be in here someplace.
They're at the bottom of the sea.
That's a lie.
Okay, so Mr. Beanie Man, who was outside when this guy shot, just got his throat slit by the captain. He had like a leg, or almost looks like a pool cue, but there's no pool table around, so I don't really know. I think where I got. And if you go out here, we saw that Knife Man earlier is now jumping down to get it around in the back. See, this door's still locked, so we can't do anything. This guy's still dead outside. Just look at that. It's like, it's so cool. Just from this one still in 2 colors, it shows so much going on with motion. It's so amazing. It's so cool. Music is amazing. Alright. Alright, so Mr. Beanie Man, this still don't really know who he is, but he was knifed by the captain. I also point out there are some times where stuff is kind of hard to pinpoint. Like see, I would have written down this. He got his throat slit, so I had to put down knifed. This game is pretty lenient with exactly because yes, I'm trying to think of an example, but there's just some times where it's kind of, actually surprisingly is kind of hard to tell how someone exactly died, but if there is one of those that's kind of hard to tell, multiple of them will work. So you don't have to, like, there are some times where it may be kind of confusing, but know that the game isn't unfair like that. If something is really weird and confusing happens, but it isn't really, like, you can't really just make out of it, it will be a bit lenient to tell exactly what happened. So he was knifed by the captain. So he threw his pistol because, I mean, it's a flintlock. He's going to have to take a minute to reload, so he just rushed in and got him. The guy's still dead. Alright, then we go back down to this corpse. Alright, so the guy who we saw earlier came down, stabbed the captain in the side, didn't kill him. The captain took the wooden thing that this guy had, who is now on the ground struggling, and swapped him in the back of the head, or in the front of the head. So like, oh, you can also hit E. I always just use right click. Also, this door is open, and there is another body in here. We'll figure more about that later. But yeah, so like this was also an example. This guy, there is no word spoken, but he's now dead. So we're gonna have to see how this guy interacts with everybody else, what he does on the ship to figure out what his name is. If you pull this up, oh, you just can't do that in memory. But yeah, so like they had roles. Like maybe this guy works in the guns downstairs. Maybe he's a helmsman. Maybe he's the cook. Who knows? But we'll have to figure out what this guy is, even though just from observing his day-to-day life and how he interacts with other people when other people died around him. Alright, so again, it's blurry, so we don't know who exactly they are, but he got clubbed by the captain. You see, now it says 3 memories because he appeared in each memory, even though we don't really know exactly what he did, where his name is. Doors open again. You see just like the path of like destruction that like occurred. This is like one of the rare times where you actually see the like motion of like the swinging. You can see like a wave going into his head. So cool. This is like a rare time where like all the deaths are actually in chronological order. Usually you work backwards. But yeah. Alright, so as we saw earlier, this door is open. So there's this body and this body. This body comes, I recommend doing this one first. So let's figure out what happened.
Abigail, your brother, my friend, I shot him dead. I'll be with you soon, my love. Please forgive me for everything.
Okay, so the captain shot himself. Yeah. So, decisive information that was pointed out here. This woman's name is Abigail. We don't really know, and another thing, he said he shot her brother. So this guy out there is brother with Abigail. So, if we find out Abigail's last name, we can determine who this guy was. There. So we now identify this man from a memory where he's just sort of dead out here. Just from observing. Again, like, it said decisive information rare. Again, this is sort of the tutorial, so it is kind of rare if someone just says, your brother I shot. Okay, so this one is the first one that we can fully complete. We know he already knew he was the captain, and he committed suicide with the gun. This may or may not be correct. Of course, we know it's correct. Fates are validated in sets of 3. Correctly identify at least 3 people and their face to have information typeset into the book. So yeah, so like, if this wasn't so obvious, we wouldn't know if we got this right or not until we get 2 others correct. This here, you can see like the blurred lines here, or just the dashes, are how far we actually are going. So we have to make it all the way around. And when we get a set of 3, they will be colored in, that we know 100% this is who they are and what happened to them. But of course, if it wasn't obvious that it was the captain and that he shot himself, we just wouldn't know. We would just have to keep going until we figure out other fates correctly. So, and theoretically, you can get every single fate wrong. There's actually an achievement for it. There's an achievement where you blame every single death on the captain. So yeah, you can literally complete the game and get everything wrong. Of course, I adored it and I 100%ed it and got everything right because I'm a nerd. But yeah, you can complete this game being a complete idiot and just fail spectacularly, and the game won't punish you for it because it's all up to you. It is 100% up to you and your brain power. There is nothing other than what you have here, what's all been shown to you. There is nothing else available to you. You just have to observe and figure it out yourself. That's why it actually had to physically write down notes about this person talked to this person. He was friends with this person. He was here when this person died. This may be his job. He worked on a cannon, so he's probably a gunmate. It's, Alright, so doors open. You can see, and that was that chapter at the end. You see, that's how many fates we know. Of course, if this was if we got a set of 3, this would be a check mark, because then we 100% figure out who it was. Yeah, but because of you can also see the doors that are like opened within the memories are all blurry and weird. You see this one kind of is too. But in that scene of the suicide, we can now go back because we figured out who the guy who was shot, how his relation. He was the brother of Abigail. So if we go to the crew manifest, look for Abigail. He also might be the first mate because he said my friend, but there's also, you know, second, third, and fourth mate. So if we look for Abigail, host cut Withrel. So Withrel means that she was married, but she kept the name Housecut. So William Housecut, we know it was this guy. So this is who it was. Of course, we still need a set of 3 to figure out what happened, so it isn't going to confirm it yet. So since we know this is Abigail, her death will be easy to figure out, and we'll get a set of 3, and it will show. But I am not going to show Abigail's death because during Abigail's death was one of my favorite moments of video game history. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Even though I guess that sounds kind of messed up, but just this game is so amazing. Like, you eventually, like, you open up deeper parts of the ship, you just go down. You have to figure out what happened to 60 people from just observing. I've never seen a puzzle game like this where there isn't, like, a mechanic that, like, solves it for you, I guess. Like, Portal. I think of Portal. Portal's one of the most famous and probably one of the best puzzle games of all time. The mechanic is the portals, of course. And of course you still use your own brain to figure out what happened, but you use the devices, use the portals, you use the companion cubes, you use the bridges, in Portal 2 you have the gels, and once you get into the elevator, you know you're done with that puzzle. You don't have to go back or do it unless you want to speedrun it or just replaying it. This game, it gives you one mechanic. Look, it's all up to you. It's 100% up to you to figure out what happened. There's no hints. There's just reading and watching. And I think that is incredible. You can walk through this. Just ignore that. This is still an indie game. It was made by, like, I guess it was made by just by one person, Lucas Pope, and the voice actors. But I've just never seen a game like this. It is so amazing. It's just even again, like I said, like barely anybody watching my videos. My average view count is like 5 at the moment, but I beg that this game gets more attention and the attention that it deserves as being one of the greatest and most unique games of all time. It's probably the best puzzle, definitely the best puzzle game I've ever played. For the reasons I explained earlier, that it's just up to you. There is a story, like you figure out what's going on with that out there. You figure out that there's other stuff that I'm not gonna mention because, again, like when Abigail dies, it reveals something that when I figured out exactly. That's also why I said the next chapter is the chapter of the Doom. The Doom is the best chapter because it has Abigail's death and probably one of the coolest moments in video games history for me. It burned into my brain immediately. But I guess that's Return of the Obra Dinn. It is still 100%, even after finishing Amori, which I absolutely loved and adore. I still wholeheartedly believe that this game is the best video game created. It is truly, as I mentioned before, it is an experience that only is possible with video games. Video games are an art form. And I know that, like, a lot of people don't agree with that because, you know, there's normal art like paintings, there's movies, there's shows, there's music, and then there's video games. Because I've even talked to my dad about that. Like, he agrees with me that video games are designed to be experienced in a way that nothing else can be experienced. like, if you watch a movie, if a movie was made about this, it wouldn't be good because the whole point is for you to figure it out on your own. So if they just figured it out, it wouldn't be this incredible because it makes you feel like you are a detective. It's better than LA Noir for detective game, and it's just I don't know. But video games are art, and I wholeheartedly believe that this game is the pinnacle of video games. It is everything a video game can and should be. But I guess I'll stop ranting now because I'm literally just a fanboy at this moment because I'm just walking around. But yeah, go play this because again, we've only seen 1, 2, 3, 4 deaths. There's 60. So go play this on your own. Figure out what happens because it is absolutely incredible.